Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams come true.
I could hit that low note for you this morning. Who is Kaylee's co-host today? Some random man she met. No, I'm kidding. Hi guys, it's me, my voice. Help.
Welcome back and happy Tuesday, turkeys. How long have we known each other?
We've known each other for 2 decades.
I am not apologizing for who I am or what I like or the people that I love.
How do I be a wife? How do I be a mom? And how do I be myself in all of that?
You didn't see that coming, did you? You're officially a mom of a kid in daycare.
Man, I'm proud that I made it this far without getting sick, so here we are.
And you haven't even really been, I shouldn't say it, but in the scheme of things,
Mhm.
you haven't thrown up yet.
Mm-mm. I've kept everything in, so.
And he's been sick more than you, so you haven't been getting any, like all of it.
I know. So it's all good. Good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Good morning. Happy Christmas Eve.
That's crazy. Santa Claus is coming tonight.
Every time I played Mariah Carey this whole Christmas season, I've thought of you and how much you don't like her.
Boo, she sucks. Sorry.
Man. Anyway, we're taking a break from our seriousness with our dear friend, not that we know personally, Jordan Peterson. Maybe one day. Anyway, it's Christmas Eve, guys, so we're just putting a pause and doing a little Christmas festivities.
Yes, because we can't pass up Christmas Eve without saying something about Christmas.
No, we can't. We cannot. I will be forthcoming. I'm disappointed in myself. I wanted to have more pizzazz about other traditions and Christmases. And this morning when I woke up, I was like, I should have looked up a bunch of fun facts about Christmas trees around the world, but I didn't. So you're going to get what you're going to get.
Christmas trees around the world?
Yeah, I don't know. Just like I came across something that talked about how big the Rockefeller tree is. And then this morning I was like, I wonder how many big trees there are. Who puts up the biggest tree? Is it a competition?
Oh, that's interesting.
They ship that Rockefeller daddy in from all over sometimes.
That makes sense because, yeah, that's big and it's real.
Yeah.
That would be stressful. Like, who's gonna be the tree vendor this year?
I bet you it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
For Christmas tree salespeople. Unrelated, when we were in North Carolina, we saw a bunch of farms that grow Christmas trees, and it was so weird because it was like hilly, like kind of the hilly lowlands of the mountains, and it's just rolling hills of Christmas trees.
That's so interesting.
It was really cool looking. I feel
I
like
bet.
It probably smelled really good. Okay. Well, this leads me to, as we did on Halloweeny, I just thought I would bring us all a little sprinkle of origins of our holidays, if you will. This one wasn't quite as earth-shattering as finding out that Halloween was a cover-up story. And there weren't any radishes, turnips, jack-o'-lantern turnips. So there wasn't anything quite that earth-shattering. This information is also from history.com, or the History Channel. Guys, if something's wrong, okay, I didn't want to read anything overly smart. And for some reason, that was the first thing that Google pulled up. Sidebar, Google has gotten shitty.
So shitty.
It's AI and then ads and then blogs.
I know. It used to be so forthcoming, and now it's like I have to scroll. We need to ask Jeeves back.
Did Wikipedia piss off Google because they weren't even in my top page?
Probably.
Ugh, okay, another day, another time. According to history.com, Christmas has been recognized as a holiday in the United States since 1870.
Wow. Okay. What were they doing before that?
I guess maybe it just wasn't recognized as a federal holiday.
Well, there's the distinction. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's probably the distinction. And then for a minute, I was like, was it the United States? And then I was like, Keely, you're an idiot. That was 1776.
That's what I was doing the math. I was like, wait, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, glad it wasn't just me. Cool. That used to sound a long time ago when I was a kid. Doesn't seem so long ago anymore. I don't know what that's about. Okay. Also, so here are some of the things you may or may not have seen on Instagram, depending on what your algorithm looks like. Mine leans pagan, so I get a lot of this shit. So Yule was celebrated in Scandinavia. I think Norse cultures is where it originated. Am I frozen?
No, I'm thinking, what is Yule?
So that was just their winter celebration. Everything I was reading said before modern day Christianity, there was usually a winter holiday, and it usually centered around the solstices, the winter solstice. And it was in colder climates. Typically, it was them being like, okay, the worst is over, which bull
If it
fucking shit because
wasn't,
January is rough. But when your whole life revolves around the sun,
yeah.
and I guess if you're in a really far northern climate where you might have 24 hours of darkness or damn near, I can see how the crossover point to say the days are getting longer is a huge deal.
So it's just the name of their celebration. Is that why it's in a bunch of
Yes.
songs?
I think so.
Right?
Because that's definitely where that word seems to have originated. I think it's funny because my mom and aunt always used to go back and forth when we lived in Wisconsin about it's the shortest day of the year. That means the days are getting longer. And I didn't realize they were low-key recognizing the solstice.
That's funny.
So Yule would run from the solstice through January.
Wow.
And apparently the tradition, which Yule log, we all have heard about that. They would apparently get this giant ass Yule log and they would burn it to celebrate the coming of the longer sunnier days. And they would basically just feast and eat and party until the log burnt out, which I was imagining one night they said could last up to 12 days. So I think by
My.
log, we just mean basically like we were burning a giant tree.
I mean, what else do you do in the depths of the soulless winter? It makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it sounded real great. And then I was like, okay, Yule log, that's where that shit comes from. Next, apparently in pagan Germany, they honored the god Odin.
Why does that sound familiar? Like from a Marvel
Yeah.
movie?
Well,
Yeah.
it is, but it was a Viking. See, I thought it was a Viking god. I don't know how this is tying into Germany. Did I go further? No. But basically, Odin was apparently quite scary and he might fly around and like get you at night. So their midwinter holiday celebrated Odin as a way to appease him. Basically, don't snatch me.
Interesting. That's
I think he was the Viking god of war. Anyway.
well, I just chat GPT'd Odin and there's a lot of them. So maybe there's multiple.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially with everybody sort of merging, splooging around in the olden times,
Huh?
traditions kind of carry through. Okay. That was my very anthropological explanation. Next, this is the word that I had heard before. Ancient Romans celebrated Saturnalia.
I don't ever think I've heard of that.
That was the one that I confused with Festivus, if we recall from last year, my embarrassed. So that apparently is a holiday that honors the Saturn god. So this was interesting. The Romans were in a warmer climate, pretty temperate, moderate, Mediterranean, basically the ideal climate. So they didn't have all this extreme fear and sadness in the wintertime and darkness. Some of the other people we just mentioned who were further north and in the cold. So Saturn is the god of agriculture. So I guess for them, middle of winter, they're really not that fucked. They're not, starving.
So what's it called? Food. Their celebration?
Saturnalia.
So they're just celebrating Saturn.
The god Saturn, the god of agriculture.
Okay.
And during this is what's so fun. They celebrated upside down time. It's not what it was called. But basically during the period of Saturnalia, they would flip, like it sounded like bring your kid to work day, but on a bigger scale. So they would sort of flip the social norms. All the slaves were freed during that period. Schools were closed, and they just basically acted like everybody was an equal and feasted and acted like partiers. Isn't that so interesting? It was just sort of like a free-for-all.
It's interesting that they'd be happy to do that, but only for a short amount of time.
How do you get people to go back to their normal social order after that?
Right. Interesting.
I mean, I guess if you're not treating people like total shit.
Yeah, I guess we don't know.
My husband just beeped at me as he left. Yeah. So that was that story. I feel like I've heard of this. Honestly, I think it was mentioned in one of my embarrassing books, my semi-adjacent to a smut book.
Because they're talking about this?
Well, it's historical fiction. So there's elements of things where I will read actual information and say to myself, oh, we learned something. It wasn't just garbage.
That's great.
Anyway, so I thought that was kind of fun. Everybody just got to feast and be insane. And the Romans, from what I remember, knew how to party.
Yeah, I was literally just, my head was going there as well.
Yeah, we're talking lots of PPs. Okay, last but not least, in my review of history, they were saying, especially we're going back to the colder climates where everything is dark and dismal and dead in the wintertime, evergreens were very popular. Not necessarily Christmas trees, because I was trying to sort out the origins of the actual Christmas tree, but apparently evergreens have been a big deal, especially in some of like the more Scandinavian northern areas, because it represents life and living, and it's the only thing that's still alive in the middle of the dead of winter. So a lot of pagan traditions, I guess, would decorate with evergreen boughs in the wintertime. It's a popular theme during Yule, and it would keep away all the evil spirits.
That's so interesting.
Yes, so I thought that was fun. History.com credited the Germans with bringing the traditional Christmas tree as we think of it to America. They said that likely the first Christmas tree in the US would have been sometime in the 1800s in a Pennsylvania German community. True to form, it was initially viewed as pagan and highly frowned upon.
Wow. And now we all got one.
And then I put basically as every other cool thing in America, we just sort of like merged everything together and whatever, bro. I love Christmas trees, so I'm down.
I love a good Christmas tree, and I love the smell of a real one. I'm sad to say we don't have one. But
Yes, this was going to lead me into our discussion of our own traditions, and I wanted to know if you're a real versus a fakey.
if we had the time and I don't know, when I was a child, we had our tradition of the whole family going out to, this was in Wisconsin, so we had those big plots of land of evergreens or Christmas trees. And it would be a fun thing because we'd all go out, usually snow on the ground, so we'd be wearing snow pants. The kids, aka me and my cousins, would like run around and play. And then we'd find a tree. And I remember my dad legit with a saw, sawing it down. And we'd strap it on, get some hot chocolate, go to Dairy Queen after, and go home. It was like so beautiful and magical. Now, I have tried to recreate that here, and it hasn't happened yet. So we've succumbed to the fake tree.
I wonder if there's more likely to be Christmas tree farms where you live, I feel, than where I live, because you guys just have so much agriculture, but still probably not the ideal growing situation in Texas.
So it's fine. I mean, now we have one that's always going to be symmetrical and we wanted a certain height. So it's kind of hard to find. It's kind of hard to find the perfect Christmas tree.
Dude, there's sort of a thing to that. If you're going to get the real one, then it's going to be real and have some flaws.
Yeah, that's
just like
true.
a metaphor. If I could only tie Adam and Eve into this conversation, I could be like Jordan Peterson. We, growing up, I think we did cut them down a couple times as a kid. I just smeared my mascara. We cut them down a couple times, but it wasn't always the major to do. But we would get a real one and we would go pick it out.
I love that.
Yours sounded a lot more magical, but honestly, with the patience level of my parents, probably good that we just picked one out of a parking lot. But my mom was always very specific that we had to get a specific spruce. I forget which kind it is.
A Fraser. No,
Yes,
I
a
don't know.
Fraser fir.
Yeah, yes. Which I just bought a candle. Maybe that could be the tip of the week. And it smells like Fraser fir. And it is so delicious. Okay.
Yum. Okay.
Yes.
Well, yep, that was always the rule. Had to be a Fraser fir. We have gotten some real ones. Shout out to Bailey's Produce Market here. They get some great trees. But this year I just decided to be low key, and I have a little 4-foot fake tree that I got when Jason and I were early dating for our little apartment, and I just put that bitch up on like a table, like a small little end table thing, so that it sits up high. Anyway,
that's cute.
I have my grandparents. For those of you who can't see the shape I'm making, I hope that embodied it for you. But that little glass topper from the olden days, that was like it was like bulbous and then a little point at the top.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Anyway, are you a white lights on your tree or a colored lights?
Oh my God. White all the way.
Is your husband a colored light person?
No, we both like white.
Okay. Usually there's a one of the other.
What about y'all?
Well, Jason has no preferences. He's just happy the house is decorated.
What about you?
I really liked colored lights as a kid, but I ended up getting white lights for this tree because I don't know, just one year that's what I decided I was doing, and I got really big pine cones and
Mm,
tied wire to make them ornaments, and then I made little burlap bows. And
cute.
then my sister-in-law made us the cutest little, they're small little Christmas bulbs that are see-through glass, and they have a little bit of sand and a little bit of like kind of white glitter, and then one or two tiny little seashells.
That's so cute.
Dude, they're so cute, and the whole thing goes perfectly. It doesn't look like cheesy beach shit, and
Yeah.
it's real stuff from the beach, but I think of you all the time, and when you came and how you were lost looking at tiny seashells for like 10 hours.
I could do that all day.
I know.
I'm so weird. Okay, what other traditions do you guys do?
I don't have kids, so it's like all of the traditions I grew up with, I don't care about. I loved them as a kid.
Yeah.
Making Christmas cookies, putting cookies out for Santa, gifts from Santa. What else did we do? All the Christmas movies that we used to watch. The
We,
claymation Rudolph that makes you
I
want to die that I
don't like
love. Oh
that. I don't like that. That should be outlawed.
my God, I love it. And it's so outdated. And I just. Mm. But I don't know. Now I have adopted my mom's Christmas village. So I set that up on the mantle if
That's
I feel
cute.
like it. So it's just cozy. I love a good, like you said, a good evergreen smelling candle. I usually force Jason to watch a Christmas movie with me on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So far, he's tolerated Four Christmases, that weird one with Reese Witherspoon.
I don't
I
think I've
mean,
ever
it's
seen it.
entertaining. It's entertaining. It's
Okay.
a good, like, rom com entertaining movie. It's not a classic by any means. And then Elf. I can usually get him to tolerate Elf. But he didn't grow up with all of the magic. So I get
Yeah.
it. You probably don't want to watch Frosty the Snowman if you don't have childhood affiliations.
Right. Yeah, it means a little bit more when you like grew up with that. We always watch The Grinch on Christmas Eve. We've
Mm.
done that forever, and now we're continuing the tradition. I'm not talking about the new Grinch. I'm not talking about the original Grinch. I'm talking about the classic Jim Carrey Grinch.
That's not
Okay.
classic, bro.
Yes, it is for me. It is. Which one's classic?
The original olden day cartoon.
I will watch that. I will watch that over the new stupid one.
Yeah, you can call yours like the good Grinch if you want.
Okay. I won't call it classic. I'll call it the good Grinch. The best Grinch movie, which is the one with Jim Carrey. But what else? Other than that, I don't like Christmas movies. I don't like Elf. We've already discussed this. Sorry, everyone. I
Oh, I
know.
forgot about this knife in the heart from last year.
Did you know that is 21 years old, I think
Yeah, I don't
someone
even want to
said?
talk about it. I saw a
That's
meme.
crazy.
I was devastated
Okay, so
because something that's 20 years old, I shouldn't remember the release of.
I know. Okay, as far as our new traditions that we're wanting to wait, did you guys do Saint Nick?
Yes, we did do St. Nick's Day. I don't remember what day it is.
I think it's I think it's the tranny. Well, I don't know. Anyway,
I feel like it's early to mid December because there's a decent gap between it and Christmas Day. I don't know, that was a fun one. Saint Nick would come and just put your little gifties in your stocking. And I don't know why, but somehow Saint Nick was not Santa.
I know. How did they pull that one over us?
I don't know. I was just happy to have a stocking full of gifts on a random day of the week.
So we put our shoes out outside of the room, and the gifts would be spilling out of the shoes. Really, it was just like a couple pieces of candy and then maybe one thing. I specifically remember one year they got me a Beanie Baby stand. So that was fun. I looked it up, December 6th.
Okay, yeah, it is early.
It honors Saint Nicholas of Myra.
Yeah, the actual Saint Nick, not Santy.
That's interesting. Yeah. I guess we just didn't realize they were different, but they were the same. I mean, like when we were growing up, it's just interesting. But we did that.
Willful ignorance is wonderful when you want it.
Exactly. So we're gonna do that because I love it. I will in no way be participating in Elf on the
Elf on
Shelf.
the Shelf.
Hell no. Too much work.
I was talking about this with a coworker, and I was saying if I were a stay-at-home mom and I had the time, I could see myself having fun, but it would be like the 12 days of Christmas. It wouldn't be the entire month of December leading up. Or maybe it would even just be Christmas Eve. I mean, like one.
Yeah.
One night, the
I don't
elf
even
comes
want to
and gets the house
open.
ready for Santa.
Okay, that's cute.
Something like that. But
It
not all
opens
this
the bed.
mischief and the
Yeah, no.
messes.
My God, I know. And the creativity and the effort. I saw this one person string, it looked like the water was coming out, but it was like this glittery water coming out of the faucet. Like, did you sit there and like attach like hardened glue with sprinkles on it? I'm like, there's no way.
I think some people are having fun doing it, which is lovely. And
You
which is why
go.
I said if I can imagine that if I had kids and I wasn't working full time in a traditional setting, that I might have the brain space for that and find the creative part of it fun. But I would just be so afraid of starting something that I couldn't stop, and it would just be a train running off the tracks, and then you're stuck there. Which is also why I was thinking, God bless parents that are doing it for 25 days or whatever it is. And I'm sure they're not all over the top like that. But then you do a fun over the top one, and then all the other days the elf's just like a boring turd. I don't know.
You raised the bar too high. I know, I know. I feel like the last thing that's not controversial, but it's different is I think we're gonna change up what I'm used to as a tradition of the gifts are wrapped from Santa. Kenny's family grew up and they're under the tree, you have the gifts wrapped from like mom and dad and whoever else. But then Santa comes the night before and no wrapped. No wraps. Just they're under the tree unwrapped. Um,
Oh, because he just pulled them raw out of.
Yeah, and I like that because it's like kind of different and cool. But then I'm also like, well, what are the elves doing in the North Pole the whole time? Like they're not wrapping gifts.
They're making the toys, bro.
Okay, so so maybe that's what we'll do. I think that's what we're gonna do.
It would be really fun to make it authentic. I'm getting far too into the weeds, but all of anything that comes from Santa is something that is homemade. Not
Yeah,
homemade, but it would be cool if it were an Etsy toy or something that were actually capable of being made instead of
like Fisher
plastic from
Price.
China.
Yeah,
It might be too hard to do something like that, but I don't know. That seems like it would be cool. Oh, Santa's elves made this in his wood shop.
yeah, yeah. So see, I think
Instead of
that's what we're gonna
child
do.
labor produced this in China. Wah, wah. My last tradition that Jason and I are starting new, I highly actually. Okay, well, I don't know if you have an actual like tip for people, but this is my tip if you're a dinkwad. So, dual income, no kids with a dog. We are doing a thing now where we take every other Christmas off because we host. So, even though our parents are alive, I don't know, we're the parents of our families. So, we host, everybody comes over. It's great. I love cooking. It's a good time. But last year we said, screw you guys, lovingly. We're going to go take a vacation. And so now we've decided that we're going to do that every other year.
I love
Like take
that.
Christmas off.
Love,
I'm
especially with
already
no kids. That's such a better idea of
yeah.
money spent and time spent.
Even if we have kids, or even if we had kids, I think I would say every other year we don't do presents. Maybe Santa would bring like one little gift to wherever we
Yeah,
went, but the gift is the family time together on a trip, like go
that's
skiing.
cool.
You know what I mean? I don't need more shit.
I love that.
Anyway, so that's my tip. Find a way to do some trips and not accumulate more plastic.
And
from
y'all have fun out there. Be safe when Santa comes down the chimney tonight. Merry
And
Christmas!
if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you just have a good day on that day. And eat some Chinese food. Love you, bye. These hoops are too big for a hood.
I legit sound awful.
Sound like Phoebe when she sang the blues. You might have an excuse to be tired and have a blues jazz voice. I don't know what mine is, but I'm feeling gravelly.